The mobility. Oh, kick.
With flair, props, and a knack for theatrics, Michael Venom Page has made a career out of producing electrifying moments in and out of the cage.
Off the liver shot. It can come back.
Beautiful. Runs into the jump knee, and it's over.
The kickboxing legend from the United Kingdom is a showman of the highest order. He enters the cage to thrill the crowd, throwing off his opponent's game with pinpoint accuracy, raw power, and unparalleled agility. So before he enters the lion's den again, let's take a look back at his performances that blew the roof off. Page's MMA debut perfectly showcased his fighter persona, dancing around the cage as much as he was showboating, while systematically dismantling Ben Disham. Recognizing the danger of trading strikes with a kickboxing expert, Disham wisely opted to go for takedowns instead. MVP effortlessly continued to defend against Disham's takedown with his elusive movement.
Fun in here. Oh, and there's a nice uppercut.
And then embarrassed his foe with a flashy tornado kick.
The London shoot fighter screaming at him, telling him to take it seriously. And there's a spinning kick. That is unbelievable. Wow.
The crowd cheered for the first round finish, and the commentary team likened MVP to Anderson Silva of the United Kingdom. Next up, it was Jeremy Holloway's turn to taste the legendary British power. Holloway tried to blitz his foe as the fight started, but got dropped with a huge right hand instead.
And a huge right hand by MVP begins it.
After taking another punishing right hand,
MVP, Taekwondo background, another big right.
Holloway found himself on his back following a chaotic scramble and immediately went for a leg lock.
Push him with the foot, but he can't kick him.
And that's it.
That's when Page countered with a reverse toe hold and sealed the deal, finishing the fight with his sneaky BJJ.
Michael Venom Page.
In the summer of 2016, MVP squared off against his toughest test, Evan Santos. At least, that's what most MMA fans thought. Page kicked off the fight in his usual style, adopting his side-on stance, bouncing back and forth while incorporating feints and strikes into a perfect rhythm.
By the time guys figure him out, it's too late. Good right hand.
Page attempted a flying knee, but he was intercepted mid-air and swiftly taken down. From there, he became a victim of the good old lay and pray.
Everyone wanted to see MVP get a test. He's got one.
Despite the first round takedown, the Brits' flight continued without disruptions or delays.
Effective grappling belonged to Santos, but pay time in a 100-yard dash. It's forever beautiful. Liver shot.
And one of them crushed his opponent's skulls into a gazillion pieces.
Off the liver shot. It can come back.
Beautiful. Runs into the jump knee, and it's over.
The brutal strike left Cyborg with a dented forehead and a cracked skull, necessitating surgery.
Another unforgettable finish.
Page continued his MVP ways when he faced David Rickles in his hometown of London, where he fed off the energy of the crowd and produced another banger. The highlight of the entire fight for Rickles was undoubtedly his choice of shorts. Yet, that was the only thing about him that stood out. Michael Page fought in his typical flashy and elusive style.
There's the lightning quick jab.
Got to give respect where it's due.
Another 1-2 combination that scores.
Rickles was game as he marched forward despite being blasted with heavy artillery.
He's not going to just get
Oh, wow. Right uppercut. David Rickles standing in front of him and gets tagged with a three-punch combination.
But all that bravado backfired when MVP sent him to the canvas with a meaty blow.
And that's what Michael Venom Page can do to you, and he can frustrate you.
Okay. Well, caused a leaky fall. Rickles gets tagged by the right hand.
The demolition continued unabated in round 2, and Rickles had no option but to voluntarily quit.
When to explode the top.
Wow, lead right hand that clocks David Rickles.
Giving up. I don't know what he's doing. He's giving up.
Referee, he's giving up. It's over.
After racking up 10 wins in Bellator, MVP faced his first championship-level opponent in Douglas "Venom" Lima. Page came out swinging, using his slick moves to trouble the former champ.
Charmer's going to try to mesmerize and hypnotize Lima, but his energy, in many ways, he's hiding his offense just like that.
But Lima managed to control him in the first round with a takedown and a lot of hand fighting.
Lima looking to collect data before collecting that elbow. The takedown is secured. Got a minute now left in this first frame.
In round 2, MVP came out guns blazing again.
Showing already, John, in the way he reacts, although he got...
But Lima used his wide stance and movement to land a brutal low kick and a follow-up right hand that derailed the biggest hype train in MMA.
He's not quite at 100%.
Oh, and there... What a shot by Lima! Mamma mia! Douglas Lima has just defeated Michael Venom Page in impressive fashion!
After suffering the first defeat of his career, MVP went back to the drawing board, where he checkmarked Richard Keeley's name. MVP drew first blood with a sharp counter, and Kelly responded with a sweetly timed combo. Moments later, the action was paused after Keeley flipped MVP off following a taunt, resulting in a warning for both. Venom wouldn't listen to the ref though. And naturally, face a crucial point deduction. The penalty didn't matter, however, because as soon as the two resumed fighting, MVP had his foe tumbling and crashing to the mat with a gruesome flying knee. MVP's next big win came against Giovanni Melillo in late 2019. For almost a minute, MVP danced, feinted, and showboated, testing his opponent's chin with one strike after another.
Melillo said he's going to figure it out when he gets in there.
Unfortunately, Melillo wasn't tough as nails, and a big right hand from MVP had him cooked.
Whose show is it?
MVP right hand all over.
After dispatching Melillo, Michael Page produced another striking clinic against Japan's Shinso Anzai. In their 173-pound catchweight bout, the slick and smooth fighter from Hackney proved too much for the Japanese opponent to handle. MVP outstruck Anzai and badly rattled him early, but failed to put him away.
Towards the cage, all smart. There he goes down. Big shot. Got a cut. Yep.
In round 2, Page cracked his Japanese foe again.
And he's starting to look like a kid in the school. It's over. It is all over! Just like that! Michael Venom Page finishes.
After bouncing back with 5 wins in a row, MVP got his chance at vengeance against Douglas Lima, and he grabbed the opportunity with both hands. Page landed flashy strikes and caught Lima off balance a few times in the first round. Lima managed a key takedown. In the second round, Page seemed to be in control, staying busier and keeping things standing. But Lima had a close call with a leg kick. The final round echoed the first, with Page's movement keeping him ahead.
Based upon his place in the cage.
Sure now than he was earlier in the fight.
Until Lima secured another takedown. Lima ended round 3 on top, and many were surprised when Page's hand was raised, but it was too close to call. In March 2023, Michael Venom Page delivered yet another sparkling performance when he took on Goichi Yamauchi. Just 20 seconds in, the Brit landed a crushing leg kick that did fight-ending damage.
Like Michael Venom Page.
Oh, we got a problem right there.
And that was that.
That kick ends it.
Michael Page currently competes in the UFC, where he most recently made a successful start with an impressive win against Kevin Holland. The next time he enters the octagon, he will face undefeated Irish star Ian Gary. Will MVP derail one of the biggest hype trains in the UFC? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.